title. Madam Speaker, last night I had a call from Stephanie, a bright, intelligent woman who has been following the proceedings of this scandal. She asked if I could pass on her message, so I will read her letter now in its entirety. Stephanie, if you're listening, which I know you are, I have to replace names with titles in order to fit the rules of the House of Commons. I promised you I'd pass on your message, and that's what I am doing tonight. Dear Anna, I saw your outrage regarding the shooting of a helpful neighbor during a home invasion in Nobleton last Monday evening. The helpful neighbor who got shot was my work sister's husband. What the news story failed to report was that this man was shot in front of his 6-year-old son. It was the boy who FaceTimed his mother yesterday while she was at work in the office adjacent to mine, saying that his father had been shot. It is her 6-year-old son that told his grandmother last night that he failed his father because he could not protect him. He had surgery last night at Sunnybrook and had his bowel resectioned. They are waiting in a room in yet another crowded over-capacity hospital. I'm beside myself with anger and frustration, she writes. This Prime Minister is Canada's biggest terrorist. He is an economic vandal that has let criminals run rampant, and nothing is happening. I watch clips of what is going on in the House of Commons and in Parliament all the time, and we are going in circles.
A point of order, the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Government House Leader.
Yes. Madam Speaker, with all due respect to the individual that authored the letter, the members should be aware is you can't do something indirectly, what you cannot do directly. So calling a member of the House of Commons a terrorist is in fact definitely unparliamentary.
So again, the honourable member is actually reading a letter into the record. She is not the one that is making a comment. It's what a correspondence that she has received. It doesn't necessarily reflect the idea of the member herself. And so I will allow her to continue. Point of order, the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Government House Leader.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I do think it's a very important ruling. What you're saying is that I can then bring in any sort of correspondence and say this is a letter and then read a litany of unparliamentary words because I'm basing it on a letter. I think that at the very least maybe we should take it under advisement and come back to the House because it's a very serious ruling.
The honourable member, I did just speak to that. I have another point of order. The honourable member for Brandon Sirs.
Well, Madam Chair, if the honourable member from Winnipeg North was challenging your ruling.
So again, sorry about that. So again, as I said, the honourable member was actually reading something into the record. I understand that there are some words that are not acceptable, and So again, you know, we can mention the word terrorist, but we shouldn't be attributing it to somebody. The only thing is that this is something that's being into the record. I will come back to the House, though, with this, and unfortunately, the time is up for debate tonight. So I will certainly take the information under the discussion here under consideration, and we'll come back to the House as needed. I am now going to read my decision on a point of order that was raised yesterday, late during yesterday's sitting. A point of order was raised by the Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader in relation to language used by the member for King Vaughan when quoting from correspondence. In quoting from the said document, the member for King Vaughan had taken the appropriate step of replacing the name of the Prime Minister by his title. However, she did read into the record a relatively strong and offensive term in relation to that member. In his intervention, the Parliamentary Secretary argued that one should not do indirectly what cannot be done directly. As we were getting close to the adjournment proceedings, I undertook to take the matter under consideration and come back to the House if necessary. First off, it is an acceptable practice for members to quote from correspondence they receive. As mentioned in House of Commons Procedure and Practice, 3rd edition at page 614, and I quote, members may quote from private correspondence as long as they identify the sender by name or take full responsibility for its contents, unquote. It also says on the same page, and I quote, there is no standing order which governs the citation of documents. The House is guided mainly by custom and precedent. Generally, the reading of articles from newspapers, books, or other documents by a member during debate has become an accepted practice and is not ruled out of order, provided that such quotations do not use language which would be out of order if spoken by a member, unquote.
This can be confirmed in several Speaker's decisions, particularly that of Speaker Milliken from 8 November 2006 on page 4895 of Debates, where it is reminded that members cannot do indirectly what they do not have the right to do directly. And the use of non-parliamentary expressions by quoting from others is unacceptable, and we will not tolerate these type of comments.
I would urge all members to stay away from such comments, even when quoting from documents. Taking unparliamentary language from a quotation and then attributing it to another individual does not make it more acceptable. I thank all members for their attention.